Discussion on the rulings, rituals of Umrah, and violations of Hajj rules. Rulings on performing Umrah. If the conditions that make Hajj wajib, obligatory, are present in a person, performing Umrah once in a lifetime is Sunnah Mu'akkadah, emphasized Sunnah. Umrah can be validly performed at all times of the year. However, it is Makruh, disliked, to enter into Ihram for Umrah on the day of Arafah, the day of sacrifice, Qurbani, and the days of Tashriq. Rituals of Umrah. The rituals or actions of performing Umrah are four, namely 1. Entering into Ihram, 2. Performing Tawaf, 3. Performing Sa'i between the hills of Safa and Marwa, and 4. Shaving the head or trimming the hair. A person who intends to perform Umrah must go to the hill, the area outside the Haram Sharif boundary. Whether he is a resident of Mecca or a long-term stayer in Mecca, he will enter into Ihram for Umrah from there. However, a person who is from outside Mecca will enter into Ihram for Umrah from the Miqat. Then, he will perform Tawaf and perform Sa'i for Umrah. Afterward, he will shave his head or trim his hair. Only then will he become halal, released from Ihram restrictions, from Umrah. Violations of Hajj rules and their remedies. Engaging in any prohibited activity is called Jinaya or violation. Violations of Hajj rules and regulations are of two types, namely, a. Violations related to the Haram Sharif and b. Violations related to Ihram. A. Violations related to the Haram Sharif. Violations related to the Haram Sharif include proceeding to kill prey within the Haram Sharif, gesturing towards prey, guiding the path to prey, cutting any trees of the Haram Sharif, cutting grass, uprooting plants, etc. These are all violations related to Haram Sharif regulations. This applies whether the person is a muhrim, in Ihram, or a halal person, not in Ihram. A remedy is mandatory for each of them. If someone hunts and slaughters a land-dwelling wild animal in the Haram Sharif, it is not permissible to eat it. Rather, it will be considered carrion, dead meat. This applies whether a muhrim or a halal person hunts it. If a halal person hunts any prey of the Haram Sharif, the value of the hunted animal becomes wajib upon him as a remedy or dam, penalty, and he must give it as charity to the poor. Fasting will not stand in place of the price, remedy. If anyone cuts a tree or grass of the Haram Sharif, the price of that tree or grass becomes wajib upon him, regardless of whether the cutter is a muhrim or a halal person. However, cutting grass or foliage for digging a stove or pitching a tent is permissible. b. Violations related to Ihram. Violations related to Ihram occur when a muhrim violates any of the prohibited matters of Hajj. During Ihram or abandons any wajib of Ihram. These are of 6 types, namely: First type. The violation that nullifies the Hajj, and this nullification cannot be compensated by any sacrifice, fasting, or charity. That is having sexual intercourse with one's wife before the stay at Arafah. If someone has intercourse before the stay at Arafah, his Hajj will be nullified. It will be wajib upon him to sacrifice a goat. It will also be wajib to perform the qada, makeup, of this Hajj the following year. Second type. The violation for which sacrificing a camel or cow becomes wajib. This consists of two types of regulations, namely 1. Having sexual intercourse after the stay at Arafah but before shaving the head. 2. Performing Tawaf al-Ziyarah in a state of janabah, major ritual impurity. The person who has intercourse after staying at Arafah but before shaving the head. Sacrificing a camel or cow becomes wajib upon him. Similarly, the person who performs Tawaf al-Ziyarah in a state of janabah, sacrificing a camel or cow becomes wajib upon him. Third type. The violation for which sacrificing a sheep, goat, or 1/7 of a camel or cow becomes wajib. This happens in many forms. 1. Engaging in acts that lead to intercourse, such as kissing or touching. 2. A man wearing stitched clothing without a valid reason. Women may wear whatever they wish, but they cannot cover their faces with a covering that sticks to the face. 3. If a muhrim cuts the hair of his head or beard without a reason. 4. If a muhrim covers his face for a full day. 5. If a muhrim applies perfume to one full limb among the major limbs of the body without a reason, such as the head, face, hand, thigh, shin, etc. Similarly, if a muhrim wears perfumed clothing for a full day. 6. If a muhrim cuts the nails of both hands or one foot. 7. If a muhrim abandons Tawaf al-Wida, farewell Tawaf. Fourth type. The violation for which giving half a sa of wheat or its equivalent value in charity becomes wajib. Such as 1. If a muhrim shaves less than 1/4 of the head or beard. 2. If a muhrim cuts 1 or 2 nails. Half a sa of wheat is assessed for each nail. 3. If a muhrim applies perfume to less than 1 full limb. 4. If a muhrim wears stitched or perfumed clothing for less than 1 day. 5. If a muhrim covers his head or face for less than 1 day. 6. If a muhrim performs Tawaf al-Qudum or Tawaf al-Wida in a state of minor impurity, hadith. 7. If a muhrim omits stone throwing at any one of the 3 jamarat. Fifth type. The violation for which giving charity less than half a sa becomes wajib. That is, if a muhrim kills a louse or a locust, he will give some charity as he wishes. If a muhrim kills 2 lice, 2 locusts, or 3 of either, he will give a handful of food in charity. If he kills more than this, he will give half a sa of wheat in charity. Sixth type. The violation wherein the qimmat, meaning the market value of each item, becomes wajib. And that is killing a land-dwelling wild animal. If a muhrim hunts and slaughters a land-dwelling wild animal, gestures towards it, or shows the path to the prey, the qimmat, market value, of that animal becomes wajib upon him. This applies whether the prey is for eating or not. 2 impartial and experienced persons will determine the price of the prey based on the place where it was hunted or a place near it. If the price of the prey is equal to the value of a hadi, sacrificial animal, then the muhrim has the choice: he may buy a hadi and slaughter it inside the haram sharif. Or if he wishes, he may buy food and donate half a sa to each poor person, or if he wishes, he may fast 1 day for every half sa instead. If the price of the prey is not equal to the value of a hadi, he has the choice between charity and fasting. If a muhrim kills biting insects/vermin, i.e., snakes, scorpions, rats, hornets, flies, rabid dogs, etc., nothing will be obligatory upon him.